if you notice that quits recording, let me know. Alright, so Congress has declared war 11 times in our history. The president has sent troops abroad over 200 times in our history. They don't always send them troops out to break stuff and kill people. Sometimes it's to help out. Now, the War Powers Act. This was done after Vietnam, 1973, or at the end of Vietnam. It gave the president the ability to send troops out for 60 days in an emergency. So the president does have the right to send troops out, or the ability to send troops out. After 60 days, Congress can say yes or no to it and refuse to pay for it anymore. Now, if you, there's probably more to it. That's really simplified, but that's what the War Powers Act did. And it's designed to keep something like Vietnam from happening. What is legislation? The legislative branch, what do they do? They write the laws. What do you think legislation is? The laws. Legislation is the bills and the laws. So you got laws. Congress writes them. Can the president help write laws?
No, but he can do the
executive orders. Yes.
Basically, like,
Here's what happens. The president might want some sort of legislation passed. So the president will contact a representative or a senator. Because a representative or a senator can present something to Congress. And the president can say, hey, why don't you present this? And they can present it. So behind the scenes, the president can introduce legislation through members of Congress. That happens a lot. And as Congress is writing laws, the president is involved in negotiations about what is in these bills. And the president might tell Congress, hey, you've got this stuff in here. I don't like this in there, and I don't like this, and I don't like that. And Congress will say, well, you do like this and this and this, and if you want that, you have to keep this in there. They'll negotiate back and forth before it's over. Because Congress wants this stuff in there, and the president wants that stuff in there, and it just comes down to like a staring contest. But they negotiate throughout the process what the final outcome is going to look like. So, the president can't write them, but the president's involved in writing them. They are the ones writing it, but he or she can be behind the scenes making it happen. And ultimately, what can the president do to the bills? Veto or sign. And even if the president vetoes, there is a possibility that veto could get overturned. This happens more than I thought. Still not very often. Like the healthcare law that was passed when y'all were signing. It's called Obamacare, because he was one of the forces behind it. Nobody knows who wrote it because it's longer than the Bible. literally. It's like 1,800 pages. Because there's so much crap to be just, you're redoing the whole healthcare system.
Because you really have to account for every single possible situation.
No, but here's the quote. This was the quote. And this told me, I don't care who says this quote. This is the dumbest quote a government official has ever said. Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, said, "We've got to pass it so we can find out what's in it." We've got to pass it so we can find out what's in it. But no, nobody read the whole thing. You might read this part and this part and this part, but you don't want to pass something to find out what's in it, because what if what's in it doesn't need to read it before? Yes. I stand by my quote that is the worst statement ever made.
So, but,
That's like saying you need to.
I guess they only would know what's in it. They only would know what's in it.
I gotta buy the house
Because
to
it
see
had to go
what's
into
inside
effect.
it.
I guess so. I don't know.
Going into
Yeah.
the reading.
I like what y'all said.
I gotta buy the house to see what's inside
I've got to eat this to see if it kills me or not. I need to check and see if it will kill me. I just
it.
need to
Could
eat
be to
this
see if
first.
I'll survive it.
I need to eat this to see if it makes me throw up. Okay, go right ahead.
I'm gonna take that job so I can see how much I make.
Yeah. I've done that before. I never know how much I make. Kristen knows I do. Okay. As president, the president appoints judges and Supreme Court justices. That's what they call people on the Supreme Court. They call them justices. So federal judges and Supreme Court justices are picked to be on the Supreme Court, or in the courts. The president picks them. Okay, if I was president and I got to pick a Supreme Court justice, I would consider Mr. Pearson. I think that'd be a good one. I know him. I know who he is. I know all that. I think we think a lot alike on stuff. So I'm like, I want that guy to be a Supreme Court justice. So I put my people up for judge and justices. People that seem like they think like me, look like we agree on stuff, so they're gonna rule like I would on things. How long am I president for?
8 years at the most.
At the most, 8 years. 4 to 8 years.
Right?
No, it just depends, yeah. How long is Mr. Pearson gonna be a Supreme Court justice?
Life.
They are there for life or until they quit. Retire, quit, done. No, you have to get picked again. Now, this is awesome because you're free to do the right thing. You don't have to worry about what people think. So as a judge, you don't have to worry about getting reelected and making people happy. You are free now to rule the way you feel is right.
You basically can't get fired.
You can if you do something wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, you're there.
Can't get replaced or
Yes,
anything.
and I've always said the judicial branch is the most mature and responsible branch we have in government. Because of that, they're
They have
free
nothing to lose.
to do right. And they do. For the most part, they all take it very, very seriously, especially Supreme Court justices. They get on there, and whether they're extremely liberal or extremely conservative, from the outside, it really appears that they really take that serious and want to do the right thing. So after I'm gone, they will still be there. My influence will be there long after I'm gone. That's what makes picking judges and justices the most powerful thing you can do as president. Long lasting.
You get your way for a while. Y'all like,
Well, you have your say. Now, sometimes judges and justices don't always act like you think they will, because they are free to do whatever they want. There are still, Clarence Thomas was put there by the first President Bush in 1991. He's been there, what, 20 years? 30 years. 30 years.
Crazy. And the federal judges are there for life too?
Yes, state judges, we elect state judges, which I'm not a fan of, really. Now, how many of y'all been riding in the car, maybe in the back seat on a trip or something, and you say or do something, or you're picking on your brother, and then all of a sudden, the arms start twitching back, and you're like, you're sinking to the seat as far as you can go, right? That is a reprieve. Are you going to get punished eventually? But it puts it off. So a reprieve means to put off the punishment. Presidents and governors, I know this in Texas, I know other governors can do this. You can alter the punishment for criminals. You can give them a reprieve. There could be a stay of execution where you put the execution off and give us time to look at some other stuff that maybe came up. Doesn't mean you're not getting punished, it means it puts it off.
So like if there was like something happened and then you got the death penalty or whatever, they could use your reprieve to like say.
Okay, hold up, we're gonna put this off for a couple months, there's some other stuff we wanna look at. That happens.
How does the, like, I forget what it's called, but whenever a president just like can take somebody out of jail.
That's next, a pardon. Okay? President and governors have the power to pardon people.
Governors do.
Some governors do.
But like, what
But
is?
they don't, okay, as president, are you gonna pardon the mass murderer? No, because that makes you look bad. You're gonna pardon someone that makes you look good. Most of the pardons end up being the drug dealer who served his time, got out, and now works to help people get off drugs. And then you pardon them and it clears their record. That's,
Clears their record?
yeah, like now you don't have that on your record anymore.
I didn't know that. I thought they just do that too.
It could happen, but they're usually not gonna do that unless it's
I need a
something
custodian to the office, please.
that,
I need a custodian to the office.
Didn't Donald Trump pardon like a rapper or something?
yes.
I can't remember what it was.
I remember hearing that.
Wait.
President Ford, he took over for Nixon when he resigned. The first thing he did was pardon Nixon, which meant nothing. He could not be taken to court for anything that happened with Watergate.
Why would he do that?
Well, he was torched, and he did not have a chance to win the presidency because everybody hated him because of that. 25 years later, all the historians said that's exactly what needed to happen because it ended it, and the country moved on. And if that hadn't been for that, it would have drugged that out for years.
Do you think he knew about it? He knew that would happen?
Yeah, he recognized, look, we just gotta get rid of this, let's move up other fish to fry. And he sacrificed himself. He said, I'm gonna take the blame for this, but this is the best thing for the country.
Look, I
Now,
don't have anybody like that anymore.
not many. Not many. Now, amnesty. Amnesty is pardoning or helping a group of people. Usually hear amnesty with illegal immigration.
You said it was, what does it mean?
It's when you pardon or forgive or help a group of people. In 1987, Ronald Reagan signed a law into place that granted amnesty to 3 million illegal immigrants. And they said, we need to start over, we need to start working on the border, which we didn't. And let's start over. Because 2.5 million of these people are here to help and just to be a decent person. Few of them are here to be a piece of crap.
So, that's kind of unrelated, but yesterday you had talked about how President Clinton, was pretty popular because he,
The economy was
replaced Ronald Reagan and President Reagan. So what was so bad about Reagan? Because wasn't it considered as like the golden era or something?
well, Reagan was conservative. He was pro-business. He was pro-military. He was anti-tax. And conservatives want you to fix more of your problems, and the government fix less of your problems.
Yeah, they're not less government involved.
Liberals want the government to fix the problems and more taxes for that, and government bigger. He was for smaller government. And so there's the liberals that wanted things to change, and the economy was booming because of .com.
Yeah, not necessarily because of curriculum.
And at that same time, this is the weird thing, at that same time, Republicans came in a landslide in '94. And they balanced the budget. We did not have a debt for 1 year. Well, not the debt, but we didn't add to the debt.
Right, okay.
And that was the big push. Public said, we're gonna do this. And Clinton signed off on it for a while, and then they all changed. But he was very popular because he was a guy. He does seem like a nice guy, like a guy you want to go out to eat with. But, and he was a very smart liberal.
What are you talking about?
Bill Clinton.
He didn't. AOC is a very dumb liberal. He was very smart. He was willing to give and take and not just come in and, it's a mature liberal.
Yeah.
She's immature. He was a politician. He was a politician.
I got a question.
Yes.
What was like the biggest landslide of Democrats?
Ronald Reagan won his second presidency and lost one state. He won every state except for Minnesota, which was his opponent's home state. So he got every electoral vote except for Minnesota's, which was like 20-something.
Was it close in Minnesota?
Maybe.
Are you talking about Reagan?
Yes. I remember how many electoral votes he won, but he
You got
won
like
every one.
98% of the votes.
It was 84 election.
What do you think the like actual votes were? Like 80 million to like.
Oh, you looking it up? Look up Reagan, 84. Look up 84 election. Y'all can look it up. Look up 84 election. That's the biggest I've ever.
Wasn't Bush the vice president?
Yes. President Bush.
Not a robot.
What was it, 84?
The 84 election results. That's a landslide. That was the biggest landslide that I've ever. And that gave him a lot of political power. Congress did what he wanted because they said, well, the people want this, so we gotta.
Did he do good?
The economy was booming.
So-
Deficit and debt didn't go up.
What am I looking for here?
The Soviet Union went down. It
What are the
collapsed.
actual votes?
Okay, the electoral vote was 525 to 13.
There you go. That's a win.
It says,
I feel bad for that one, dude. 13 votes.
525 electoral votes.
Who was he going against?
Vice
Mondale.
President Walter.
Walter Mondale. He was Jimmy Carter's vice president.
Which, so,
He was very boring
I
and
didn't realize
bland.
Reagan was an incumbent.
Yeah.
What was the actual vote?
What was the popular vote, you know?
Popular vote was
54,455,472.
What?
37
37
million.
million.
So, but that's still,
You get 20 million change in the middle.
what's the whatever percent, that's like 60-something percent, 65, 70.
58.8 to 40.6.
That is a huge,
18%.
huge election, yeah.
Over 18%.
Alright. What's dangerous about relying on the media to tell us when the government's messing up?
If they like it,
They'll like it because
it's
they want to see it.
propaganda.
Because of bias.
Not propaganda.
Right? There are some media outlets who, I'm gonna go President Bush, President Obama, President Trump, and President Biden. There are some media outlets who are going to do nothing but bad things about President Bush, nothing but good things about President Obama, nothing but bad things about President Trump, and nothing but good things about President Biden. They ignore one side.
He won DC too.
Yes.
The other DC.
Mondale, yes.
Mondale, yeah.
Yes. There's some news outlets that are going to show nothing but good things about President Bush, nothing but bad things about Obama, nothing but good things about Trump, and nothing but bad things about Biden. That's what's dangerous. Because there is some crap and some good with President Bush. There's good and bad to both.
Okay.
And most media outlets are not balanced.
I found the votes for $37,577,352 to $228,111.
What was that in?
That was like vote to vote, like vote Reagan or vote. That was the.
Mondale,
Yeah,
in a
it said-
state or in a?
It says. Oh wait. Hold on.
What I saw was like
I messed up.
57 million.
You should look at Minnesota and see how bad that was.
Oh, wait, never mind, I was wrong.
He lost 13. He lost 13. And, you know, we tend to look at we tend to listen to what we want to hear. And we'll only, you know, the media outlets, we'll seek out media outlets that make us feel good.
Everybody has a filter, they'll see if they're going.
Never did commute.
Oh, commute. Commute means to limit or to shorten. And these are not used, they're not gonna give themselves bad publicity. You know, they're not gonna commute the mass murderers sentence. You know, there's that group now, I think they're at SMU, that really researches people that have been in jail, wrongfully jailed, and they research stuff and try to get them freed. I can't imagine much worse than being in prison for like 20 years for something you didn't do.
That does sound.
You'd have to, I would come out the biggest piece of garbage ever. You know, I'd start beating the crap out of everybody and finding people and trying to, you know, that just imagine being there for 20 years. You weren't supposed
20
to.
years of your life will never get back
Yes.
for something you did.
You can't repay that. I mean, and then some people come out forgiving me. I wish I could. God, I wish I would did that, but I know.
Teachers, please post attendance.
First
No,
person,
Thank you.
Man, that's awful.
Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking is someone who
Did I do it? Did I
I
already do
think
it?
you did.
I did?
I think you did.
Please no. Blake is not here. Is everybody else here? Okay.
Blake never come back.
He's an ISS.
He's in DLP.
Oh, yeah. Like a sword.
Okay.
He had 3 months.
All right, the Depression. Depression was in the late 20s into the 30s. You had the Depression. Before that, there wasn't much government. And it was, I have a problem. I have to fix it. Maybe you could, maybe you couldn't. Cities and counties had things like the poorhouse or the work farm. And if you went bankrupt, you'd go live at the poorhouse and do work. But there wasn't help from the government.
What was it, like 25 cents an hour or something?
Yeah, they wouldn't pay much. You got to live, you got to survive. After the Depression, now the government started helping. Did the government need to start helping? Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. But after the Depression, it becomes more of a, what can the government do to help? Before the Depression, you would never think, what can the government do to help me? And even during the Depression, a lot of people wouldn't take the government help. It's my responsibility. I have to fix this thing. But the Depression and the New Deal really kind of changed the mindset to be more of a what can the government do to help me? And this thought of the government has unlimited money, which I guess it kind of does.
So if we're like trillions of dollars of debt,
Yeah.
how are we gonna
We're not.
who do we owe money to?
Yeah, who are we giving?
Every country in America, every country in the world, and almost all Americans, and banks, and most of it's American.
How do we, I mean, just look,
Like
America, how are we gonna ever, I mean, the government's just gonna give us money if they wanted to repay us back. That's never gonna happen.
Savings bonds. You know what savings bonds are? You heard
bond,
that?
and then
Some of y'all might have a savings bond grandma bought when you were born.
it grows, doesn't it?
If yes,
But it quits growing after a certain.
right, there's a maturity date. If any of y'all had a savings bond, would you refuse to turn it in? No.
No, you,
A lot of it is in those kind of things. A lot of it, companies may loan money to the government for a short term to get a little fast return on it. Get us almost a guaranteed return.
so it's money we'll never see.
We do owe China like a trillion and a half. We don't owe China the debt, we owe a chunk of it. And every country's kind of the same boat, every country's.
That's what I was saying, I feel like, a lot of people probably owe us money too.
But most of it's owed to Americans, or American companies, or American banks. They won't, that's why we get so racist.
Yeah, how much debt do you think we're really in when we add together all the money that we're owed to? And that's a hard
I know,
question to answer, but,
a bunch,
yeah.
technically a bunch.
How did we even get in that though? Like what started the whole thing?
Well, okay, it's like a human being. If you get a credit card, we'll get into this way. It's easy to beep, and you beep, and you beep, and you really don't realize it. How many of y'all have ever gotten $100 before, and you used to be the old checking account? You don't have a checking account anymore. You do, but it all leaves. You get $100, and you go somewhere and write a check. Say for 20, you buy something for 20. Maybe you bought something else for 10. Maybe you bought something else, and all of a sudden you're like, well, where'd my money go? You didn't realize you went so fast. So now you're beeping, beep, beep, beep. And then you get the bill, you're like, oh crap. All those beeps added up to this thing. And you start beeping, and it's hard to not beep anymore. You get stuff. And stuff is cool. We like stuff. We like bright lights and candy.
Why do people give us stuff if we don't pay them back?
Well, we do. That's the thing. That's why with the debt ceiling thing, if we ever, right now, our credit's good because we keep paying it back. Now the interest is growing, but we're not missing
You
payments.
talking about America in general?
The national debt, that debt ceiling a few weeks
Paying it
ago.
back?
Yeah, we pay the interest. We make our payments. We pay what we have to right now. That amount is growing. If we ever got where we can't pay what we have to, that's where the problem is. It's like as long as you're making the minimum payments and you still have credit, life is okay. But if you get to where you can't make those payments, that's when everything.
So we're not focusing on the amount.
No,
Yeah.
we're making the minimum payment,
Yeah.
paying the interest.
Do we have to borrow money to pay it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How do you pay if you don't have any money?
Right now, I think, I wanna say, tell you what, get y'all's phone out. What percentage
I'm gonna be first.
of the budget, the national budget, is interest payments? I wanna say it's like 23%.
The budget is what?
Interest payments, federal budget, interest payments.
$9%.
Dang it.
9%?
So it says
Yeah.
That's it?
$400 per household.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Wait, when was this?
It says, interest payments are a costly part of the federal budget. Even with exceptionally low interest rates, the United States is projected to spend over $300 billion on interest payments this fiscal year. That's the equivalent of 9% of all federal revenue collections, and roughly $2,400 per household.
Oh, is revenue collection sending a budget?
I mean,
yeah.
$300 billion is a lot.
I think revenue collections would be different.
Which we're in.
300 billion?
300 billion?
It says that's only 9%.
Let me see.
So that's a lot of revenue generated in the United States.
That's like, Joe, can I use the restroom?
Yeah.
300 times a lot.
I'm gonna try this, federal spending. What percent of federal spending is interest?
So, oh my gosh, it's in the trillions.
Yeah.
3.3 trillion.
3.3 trillion for what?
Well, it's a little over 3.3 trillion of how much money the United
Okay.
States generates. in
This says in
fiscal
2020,
year, I guess.
the interest payment is 522.
I don't remember how we got to that point. I mean, that would be zero right there.
Okay, $22 billion. What percentage?
I told her
That's paid to interest.
Oh,
It's like anything. She's like, well, you're doing something wrong.
Well, even if, okay, I thought it was like 20%, even if it's 9%, that means we only have like 90% of our money to spend on stuff. 9% is going out the window on interest.
And that's to all the companies we.
I guess the
we loan-
taxes.
We loan money from.
Some of the taxes you pay is
Yes.
Just
Paying
interest.
It's like if you get into credit card debt, your limits how much you can use your money.
You have to get paid interest plus what you already owe.
Right.
So we're not actually lowering the amount that we owe. We're
No,
just-
paying interest.
yeah.
You're not losing weight.
You're not gaining.
You're not gaining, well, we are gaining, but we're not,
You're
we're
losing-
working off,
you're
we're
just-
staying the same,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're not
We
really
might be
getting-
eating more,
You're just not really getting.
but we're, yeah.
Not getting out.
That's hard, that's hard, yeah.
That's hard to explain.
All right, the media. President and the media. The first president to really use the media. Now, we didn't have media except for newspapers for the longest time. So FDR was the first president to use the radio effectively. Why was he the first president to use the radio effectively?
Because that's when, like, NBC and
It's when it was there. He was the first president around for it. You remember what he did? Y'all talked about this last year. He would give speeches,
Like the, I
Oh,
don't know what
yeah,
it's
yeah.
called, like the fire.
fireside chats. And what that did, it created a relationship between the people and FDR because they thought this guy really cares about me because he's in my house talking to me about my problems. Fireside chats. And that's what built the relationship between FDR and the people. And that's why they called them fireside chats, because he was trying to build that relationship. This president cares about me and my problems. Then you had Kennedy and TV. The 1960 Nixon-Kennedy debate was the first televised debate. And the people that watched it said Kennedy won. The people that heard it on the radio said Nixon won. Why did the people watching it say Kennedy won? Nixon had 5 o'clock shadow, needed to shave. He was sweating, and he's ugly. Kennedy was decent looking, he was smiling, he appeared relaxed. So all this turned in, at this point, what you looked like started to really matter. And your appearance and what you wear.
Right, but how did that change the vote count?
Well, because people voted for Kennedy. People
No,
would have
because
voted
they
for
saw
Nixon. And it became about appearance and personality and charisma instead of as much policy and stuff. When you look at Nixon, you go, oh. And then him, you go, oh, nice man.
Wasn't he younger too?
Yes. They were about the same age. They were close to the same age. But he looked a lot older. Then Obama. In the 2000s, he became the first president to use social media. Why was he the first president to use social media? Because it was around. And he actually used emails. He had the people email him in the mid 2000s. His email. George Bush didn't do that, even though email was around. But he was a little older and it wasn't around as much. He realized, hey, I can use this thing.
I wonder what the ratio was to death threats to actual concerns.
Hold on. I know I sent one in.
Death threat?
No, no.
Bush, Rouse, and
Yeah.
Obama.
The boys slept in the room next to us, and they would talk. And when President Obama got elected, Pacer told Colt, said, Colt, you know what President Obama thinks is okay? He thinks it's okay for a mom to kill a baby. how is that okay? I was looking at my mom kill her baby. And so I sent an email into that little questionnaire thing. I said, look, my 5-year-old is having trouble understanding your policy on abortion. Could you please explain it to me in a way that I can explain it to my 5-year-old where it would make sense? And sent it. And I told the school classes the next day, I said, you know, if black suits show up and take me away, that you'll know why. That's what they never did. They never came to take me away. I never got an answer. Never got an answer.
Never got a response.
Never got a response. So you explain.
I saw this thing.
That's not. That's no fun.
It's been sent.